Up till now, all the value types that we've looked at so far are single values. And there's a term for that. We call those scalar values. So scalar values are single values. But now we're going to be learning about arrays. So the array type in PHP is something called an ordered map. And a map is a data structure that lets you go from any key value to any value. So you can have a key like first name as a piece of text, and then you can have a value associated with the first name key like Mark. So you could have another key last name and another value Goodman. And you could have another key like job title, and you can have another value like instructor. So you can have as many keys and as many values associated with each key, and then they all get stored in this one map data structure. So that's the map part, something that takes you from a key to a value. And then in addition, these maps are ordered. So you can have first name first, and then last name second, and then job title third. Or you could have job title first, and first name second, and last name third, or whatever. Or you can actually make these keys be numbers. So the first key could be the number 0, and the value associated with that key might be the name Bill. And the second key might be the number 1, and the value might be the name Richard. And the third key might be the number 2, and the value associated with that key is the name George. And so you could put together a map where all of the keys are numbers, and all of the values are, for example, the 10 most common names in 2014. So it's going to be ordered because we're going to be able to index through that array one item at a time using the numeric keys. So this is a little more powerful than the notion of an array in some other programming languages. So for example, if you're used to working in C or C++ or in Java, you might think of an array as just being this ordered part, an ordered collection of items where the key is always the index, always the number of the value. But in PHP and JavaScript, an array is either an ordered list of things or it's a map from key to value. So let's look at these, and sometimes it's useful to treat them as two different kinds of things because they're used in different ways sometimes. But I'm going to start by creating a simple array, and I'm going to go new PHP file, and I'm going to call this arrays.php. And I'm going to create a new array called names. And there's a couple of different syntaxes for creating an array. So here's a basic one that works in many versions of PHP. And then inside of this, these parentheses, I'm just going to list out the items in the order they appear. So the first item is Mark, Bill, Mary, Linda, Michelle, George, John. So here's an ordered list or array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the first one, and so this is item 0. This is item 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So now, given this array of names, I can output each name in the array. And I can use a square bracket here with the index number. So there's the first name, second, third, fourth, and so on. We'll learn how to do this better next week when we learn about loops. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to add one more, which is referencing an item that doesn't appear in the array. So there is no name sub 7. So let's see what we get. So I'm going to go back to the browser and load arrays. So I see Mark, Bill, Mary, Linda, Michelle, George, John. And then I get an error when I try to access the 7th item in the array because there is no 7th item. So that's the first type of an array. It's an indexed array. It's really easy to add stuff to the end of an indexed array in PHP. You just say $names, square bracket, equals, and then add a new name. And this is always going to add this item one after the last one that was defined. So I'm going to go and also add Alice. And now I can output name sub 7 and name sub 8. So there's William and there's Alice. So Alice is now the 8th item in this array, and William is the 7th item in this array. On the other hand, I can create an associative array, sometimes called, which is a map from keys to values. So for example, account info might be equal to array, and then I'm going to put the first key, which is first name, and then an arrow, and then the value of first name. And then another key, and an arrow, second value, and then let's say points. And I'm just going to put a number here. So here I have an account info array, which is an associative array. It goes from key to value. And I'm going to go ahead and echo those outputs. So for an associative array, the way I access the elements is still use square brackets, but here I put the actual key. So there's the account info, first name, last name, and points. And if I load it now, first name, last name, points. So it's also instructive to look at this in the debugger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start listening for connections. And I'm going to put a breakpoint right here after I've created both arrays. And then I'm going to hit reload. So I have a little flash warning me that something's going on. And it's asking me about the mapping. So I'm just going to take the default mapping, accept. And now I'm in the debugger. So I'm at a breakpoint on this line. My names array is there, and my account info is there, and I can open that. So this is what the indexed array looks like, the sequential array. 0 is the key, Mark is the value, 1 is the key, Bill is the value, and so on. And here's what my account info array looks like. First name is a key, Mark is the value, last name is a key, Mark is the value, Goodman, and points is 100.